This week's The Rahman Experience is brought to you by the Jacksonville Free Press newspaper, bringing you quality urban news for more than 30 years. PMP Nutrition and Supplements. Want your summer body? Go to pmpnutrition.com. They'll get you exactly where you need to be. Heart SEO, internet marketing and web design for those who are ready to make their business soar. HeartSEO.com. And now, one of the hottest podcasts in the country. It is The Rahman Experience.
Just like on the earth, through death comes life.
There is something in the atmosphere of Edgewater's College.
What about vaping and the effects on the lungs? It was a symbol of we can.
Rahman was a man of the city, you hear me?
You're inside The Rahman Experience.
It's the Rahman Experience.
The Rahman Experience.
The knowledge that he dropping, most dismiss and make you curious.
And we can't mess this up, cause you know he gon' be furious.
He bring the news to you, cause it's the truth, ain't no stopping it. Say you didn't know, well here's the proof coming from
Rahman Johnson, ain't no straight out of Compton. Duval County with that weight that we rockin'. Now you tuned in to the
Rahman Experience.
Everybody, this is The Rahman Experience. How are you? I'm Rahman Johnson, and you know, we've had some crazy technical difficulties in trying to get this thing started because this is my first time back in a while, but I'm so excited to be back in the hot seat doing the Rahman Experience. It is certainly an honor, though, to be a part of this. I've gotten emails, calls, text messages, all that stuff saying, Rock, when are you coming back? What are you doing? Well, I can't really tell everything I'm doing, but I'm telling you it's exciting. And one of the reasons that I had to do the show today, I'd agreed to do it because, well, number one, it's a big show. But number two, it's some stuff that's happening right now. And as I tell my students in communications, it's all about new and now and next. And so I'm really excited to be bringing you some I think, grade A content, some brand new stuff, some fun stuff to be aware. So let's make sure that we can get you in the mix. Now, if you're interested in being a part of the experience, of course, you can follow me on social media at RahmanJ on Twitter. That's at RahmanJ on Twitter. Also on Facebook. Facebook.com/RahmanJFans. You can also catch me on my favorite social media, and no, it ain't LinkedIn. You can catch me over on Instagram. That is my favorite social, Instagram.com/RahmanJ. And last but certainly not least, if you'd like to be a part of this conversation, there's a way for you to do that too. We'll be showing the banner in just a bit, but you can join the conversation, and I think it's going to be an interesting chat tonight. One of the main topics of conversation is Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X, Lil, however you want to say it. He is one of the biggest trending topics in the country right now. Whether you love it or hate it, the marketing that he's done is pretty significant. And so that's something we're going to talk about with an actor, a pop culture activist, and someone who has been really involved on the pop culture scene. And he's in the center of the universe, as they like to say in New York. Because he's a New Yorker. You know, they believe that the center of the world happens in New York. So looking forward to this conversation with actor and social influencer Chris Regent. And tonight's conversation is going to be fun. But again, like I said, you can join the conversation. Tiny URL. I'll be putting it up, but it's tinyurl/Rahman Live. That's tinyurl/RAHMAN Live. Once we get into the conversation, I'll be looking for your comments, and maybe we'll bring you into the show to talk about what's going on. But I want to talk about the news first before we get started on the show and a few other things. I want to talk about the news and the things that we see happening in the world. And first of all, right now, breaking news just moments ago, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, as well as the White House, is saying that there could be a surge in COVID-19 cases coming back. It said that because of people not wearing masks and states opening too soon, that the COVID-19 virus or pandemic could be making its way around the United States again. In fact, right now, Michigan is experiencing a higher move in numbers, as well as Wisconsin, I believe. So again, we want to remind you to wear your masks if you're in public, even though some of the states may have, or cities even, may have lifted their mandates. That is important. Additionally, we're understanding right now on a world scope, that barge that was blocking the Suez Canal, it's finally been moved, finally been free. This thing was huge, and it was like a big traffic jam stopping the world's trading. Well, it's finally been moved thanks to Mother Nature and some engineering ingenuity. So that's a good thing right there. And of course, one of the biggest stories, which we'll be talking about on our show today, is Lil Nas X. Not only did he drop a brand new video that takes him to the depths of hell interesting. We'll check the video out in just a moment. But the most significant part of what we're talking about with Lil Nas X is he also released a shoe called Satan's Shoe. Pretty interesting. All right, so we've got all that and so much more coming up in just moments right here in the Rahman Experience. But again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, look for the banner that's coming up in just a moment. And remember, as we have heard over and over, it's very important for you to get vaccinated. We'll be talking about that during the show. Maybe some of you aren't going to, and those who aren't, I'm curious to know why you are or aren't. I'd love to hear your feedback. Again, you can tweet me at Rahman J. All right, the Rahman Experience continues in just moments with Chris Regent. On the other side, you're caught up to the news. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans, and soon they will be available to everyone.
This vaccine means hope. It will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
I want to go back to work and I want to be able to move around.
To visit with Michelle's mom, to hug her and see her on her birthday.
You know what I'm really looking forward to is going to opening day in Texas Ranger Stadium with a full stadium.
We've lost enough people and we've suffered enough damage.
In order to get rid of this pandemic, it's important for our fellow citizens to get vaccinated.
I'm getting vaccinated because we want this pandemic to end as soon as possible.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
So roll up your sleeve and do your part.
This is our shot.
Now it's up to you.
All right, we're back in the Rahman Experience. For those of you, again, who have not been vaccinated and you're interested, we do know that you can go to cdc.gov to get all the information about vaccination sites, even what's in the vaccine. That way you can be educated and stay in the know. All right, so on the show tonight, I'm really excited to bring a friend of mine. He is, we are actors, co-actors together in many different projects. He's an actor extraordinaire. I've known this guy for several years. We met each other through being members of Divine Nine organizations, the Black Greek letter organizations, even though mine is the best, Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm just saying, I got to put that out there. But Chris Regent is, again, top actor. He's from New York. He's been in a lot of productions. And as I was telling him, we went live for a moment. And one of the things I said is that when they did a staged reading on Clubhouse, which because I have an Android, and yes, I'm okay with having an Android, because I have an Android, I am not able to join Clubhouse, but Chris and some really other talented people from around the country did a reading of Waiting to Exhale, and they did it on Clubhouse, and it like broke records. So without any further ado, please welcome to the Rahman Experience, my friend, an actor, and an amazing brother. This is Chris Regent. Hey, Chris.
What's going on? So, I had to come out guns a-blazing because, first of all, you said that, you was in the best fraternity. But then second of all, you done said that you had an Android. So you already got 2 strikes against you.
I love my Android. What is this y'all have about Androids? Like, you guys have this hate thing about Androids. What is it? Help me know.
We're here to help you and support you in whatever you do.
You can help me in a whole lot of things, but one of them is not going back to the iPhone. Anyway, Chris, it's so good to have you in the experience. How you doing, man?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Before we get too deep in things, any projects you got coming up?
I know
you stay packed. I know we've been trying to catch up forever, so that's why it was important that we do this. And I know your schedule is like crazy packed.
It just started. A lot of the stuff I just started doing was just recently started dying down. I started back, I want to say, in the beginning of February, and I was getting a lot of different bookings and a lot of different projects that were going on very recently. So it just died down, and now I'm looking to try and do some collaborations with various actors and artists that are just around us locally. So a lot of Clubhouse readings. I do a lot of cold read these days, which is definitely beneficial. And that's what I've been up to, honestly. So just really getting those creative juices flowing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And guys, if you're watching on I know right now we're live on, I think, Periscope and Facebook, please do me a favor and share this broadcast. Make sure you share it. Just click it over, share it to somebody, because I really want to get some feedback, especially when we get into the deep conversation. And if you're watching it on one of the other social media, i.e. Instagram, and there are any issues, because this is the first time that I'm live on all the platforms for the podcast, please make sure you can easily jump onto YouTube, which I am streaming live right now. It's youtube.com/Rahman Johnson, Rahman Johnson. You can catch me live right here on YouTube. So thank you. And this, as you saw from the opening, this podcast is generously supported by some amazing people. Thanks, PMP Nutrition. Of course, Jacksonville Free Press newspaper, Heart SEO, they handle my web stuff. And last but not least, Edward Waters College. If you guys are looking for a place to go, especially those people who need, maybe you've had experience in life, they have a great opportunity with Climb credentials in leadership and business and management, and they do a lot of distance learning stuff. So Edward Waters College, ewc.edu. I am always talking about my favorite HBCU. All right, so Chris, one of the reasons that we were talking and wanted to get this show was because a rapper, Lil Nas X, who is one of the hot things out. Remember, he just broke all kind of records with his Old Town Road record, did a lot of huge stuff. Well, he just came out with a video a few days ago. And not only is it controversial, it's creatively done, quite unique, and it's causing a lot of stir. What have you heard about it before we show it?
Well, I think a lot of his audience is when this came out, because I mean this only came out 2 days ago? 2 days ago. I feel like it's been out forever. Yeah. But a lot of his audience is divided, right? Because I think they really respect his creativity and the amount of work that he's put into this production. I think this production took about 9 months for him to do. Yep. But then here you are, there's those same people, they're conflicted when it comes to their religious beliefs and how they feel like they should be portrayed in society. So here he is, he's kind of shaking things up, and I'm here for it.
Well, let's talk about it on the other side. This is Lil Nas X, Montero. My name is Montero, which is his given name. Let's see what we think about it. The Rahman Experience. Here's Lil Nas X. We'll be right back.
In life, we hide the parts of ourselves we don't want the world to see. We lock them away. We tell them no. We banish them. But here, we don't. Welcome to Montero.
Okay, there you have it. Lil Nas X. What, Chris, your face says it all. Literally, your face said it all, dude. By the way, we had technical difficulties earlier. I didn't realize the monitor wasn't up. So the Rahman Experience logo and animation and all that is right. Thank you, technical people. All right, so first of all, let me give some shouts out. Thank you, Gloria Bennett. Hey, miss you too. Hey, Joel, what's going on? Yes, we are Team Android. Tony Cummins, thank you, brother. And of course, Tasha Roque, things have been amazing. Thank you all for joining the show. And for those of you that want to get in on the conversation, I'll be putting a link up soon, which you can get in and be a part of. All right. All right. So here we go. Go ahead, Chris. Chris, what do you think about what we just saw?
So I think it's funny. It's such a big conflict of interest, but I love every moment of it because it allows you to really sit down and psychoanalyze everything that is happening in this video, right? I think the beat is sick. I think every time that I look at the graphics, I'm kind of like taken aback because I'm all like, this guy is dancing with Satan. I don't know how to feel about that because we've been told we've been told all our lives like we should be dancing with the devils. So here we are. He's just kind of just taking it to that next level, and I can appreciate that because that is the definition of satire. It is just the extreme case of what something could possibly be, and like how are we taking that, and what does that mean? And it gives us a lot of thought and makes us think about what is really important here. So is this video really the thing that we should be focusing on, or do we have bigger fish to fry? And that has been his mantra, that has been his sounding horn through the past 2 days, which has felt like 2 months.
everybody is saying that that because he did this video, it was a look inside his private hell, so to speak. Because the LGBT community has been, especially by Christian conservatives and right-wing folk or whomever, they're saying, hey, you're going to hell. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take over. That's what I've been reading about it. I think it's creative. I think it's different. Unlike you, it's unique. I'm not bashing it at all. I think it's, we live in a time and in a space in a country where people should be able to express their opinions how they want to. So I think it's really expressive and unique. Don't know whether I download it, but I guess the more you listen to it, he really is. And that's why we talk about popular culture. He's really putting into words some things that the generation is now feeling. Right?
Well, you know that this whole thing is about him. It's really about him. That Montero is his name.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that it was. And he said this in an interview that Montero. The reason why he called him Montero is because that's his first name, but it's him talking to his 14-year-old self, and his 14-year-old self had promised to always hide himself and always promised to never let out this side of him that would. Apparently was often bashed and shunned in society. So here he is. He's grown, as many of us do. We are not our same selves that we are yesterday, and he doesn't want to hide that anymore. So I mean, when we talk about that and we really try and break it down, I'm here for that.
Yeah, I think it's a new experience, though. That one of the reasons that so many people are looking at this thing and saying, wait a minute, I don't like it, or wait a minute, this is hard for me to accept. It's just we're living in a different time, right? And there had been a time I was having this discussion with one of my fraternity brothers. Like, one of the things had always been be whoever you are, but be quiet about it. And I think we're at a time where you don't have to be quiet and you can be okay with being the fullness of whoever you are, however weird you are, or honestly, I don't look at it as weird. It's like however yourself you are, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There was a time where everybody was just kind of just trying to hide it and sweep it under the rugs. I mean, we look at things when we're looking at the army, there was this whole don't ask, don't tell policy. A lot of that is being challenged. And I think people in Nas X is how old?
23, I think.
So he's a Generation Zer. Okay. And there's so much
21. I'm sorry, 20. Oh my God.
21. Oh, okay. All right, even younger. They're so much more bolder in terms of just trying to find out who they are and how they identify. Not to kind of get off topic, but I just recently started watching I think it's Netflix. Forgive me if it's not. But there's a show called Generation, and Generation is basically about these young teenage individuals or young adults in their 20s that are all about trying to find themselves and find identity and what that looks like. And it's such a good show because you're seeing how they process things and just trying to fall into their place where me or you could never have done that in the past, ever.
And like we said earlier, it's a different time.
Yeah.
It's a different look and a different way that people are doing things. One of the things you said earlier that he said, wow, he's a brilliant marketer, because we're going to talk about one of the things that he's done to move the needle in a different direction. Are people going to be, everybody's talking about it. 25 million, I think is the last number, 25 million, 29 million, probably way more than that views in like a day or so, breaking all kinds of records. Do you think people are going to be more accepting of it? Is it going to cause backlash where his music won't get bought? What do you think is going to be the result of this thing that he put out there, this art?
Well, I think you already know the answer to this, Rahman, the rock giant. I think the answer is to that because we're also creatives in our own right as well, and I think he doesn't care. He doesn't care because it's all about somehow transporting a message that is that kind of leads to a bigger conversation. So yeah, he could lose a lot of fans that will no longer buy his music, but it leads you to think about where's the line that you draw in the sand in terms of what is acceptable and what isn't. Because his previous song, Old Town Road, he talked about lean and adultery, and kids loved that, and adults didn't have a problem with that. So what is it now? Like, where are you drawing your line as an adult? And a lot of people are creating that argument that you're somehow going to create an image for children that is unacceptable. But where are you as the adults?
Let me ask you this. Interesting, as we kind of veer off into acting, I'm going to get back to Lil Nas X a little bit, but where's the line for you? Like I said, we're both actors, and we both are pretty much open to taking new, unique, different roles. Where's the line for you? Like, when you say, I want to find that space, where's that line where you say, oh, I can't do this? Or where's that line for you?
Ooh, I don't think that, I think my line is very, very far back. I just don't think that I've had that. You haven't got to the place to cross it yet. I haven't had the opportunity to explore it. But I will say this: I can agree with one particular actor, and that's Patrick Stewart. And I forget which movie it was for. I don't even think that they even made it. I think it was just a hypothetical. Somebody was pitching an idea to him, and he was supposed to portray a child molester. And Patrick Stewart said, I'm not going to do that. And something like that hit home for me as well. I was just all like, I can agree with that, because I know people who have gone through traumas that are like that. So I agree with him. Like, I don't think that I would touch child molestation.
Isn't it important, just to play Lil Nas X's alter ego's advocate here? Isn't it important? I just made my own joke, and you know what? If y'all don't like it, I don't care. It's my joke, But isn't it important though to be able to tell all kinds of stories?
Absolutely.
Like, and even though that may not be a thing that you are going to do or that you want to do, in some way, shape, or form, because to me, acting is, I'm a storyteller, right? And I've figured out whether I'm telling it on the news anchor desk, now on a social media platform, on the stage, on screen, in a classroom as a professor, in all of those ways, spaces, and places, I tell stories. And part of the reason that I tell stories is not just to tell people what to do, but it's also what to say not to do, so that you can be in a better place of being able to say, okay, here is the pitfall, and here is the thing that we can move away from and go to something a little better, or that's more effective for my life. So I think, in a way, like, I needed to see Monster. I thought it was do you remember Monster, the Eileen Wuornos story with, from South Africa, Charlize Theron, remember? She won the Oscar for it?
Yes.
And it was about a woman who was the first female serial killer in modern times, because obviously Madame Delphine de la Rue, which we knew from Coven, but I'll step back. I ain't gonna go to my American Horror Story fan out time. But the first female serial killer in modern times was Eileen Wuornos. And it took a lot for Charlize Theron to bring that to life. And I'm sure some people said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm just not gonna go there. But I think the story was important so that we could see the psyche of the individual and learn what to look out for, so that maybe we can course correct and someone won't go down the path of becoming an Eileen Wuornos, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to definitely tell all sides of the story, but I think I think what you were asking before was, like, personally, what is your line that can't be crossed, because you have some type of emotional ties that are to it. And I think that's the conflict that a lot of people are having when it comes to Lil Nas X's Montero. Like, people are just all like, oh, it's because it's gay.
I think it's important to definitely.
I know we're having some feedback. I don't know. Can you hear that? I'm hearing feedback.
I can hear you now, but
yeah, I was hearing feedback. Okay, say that again.
No, I was saying, I think it's just about, you had asked about what is the line that I would not cross personally. And I think that's because we have certain ties to certain things. So we're able to more easily go across those membranes, those mediums, if you will. You know, with Lil Nas X's song Montero, like he's clearly gay. He's clearly had these experiences. So he's clearly been told that he's going to go to hell and burn eternally, right? So for him, he's like, all right, well, fine. And so he created something, and it rubbed people the wrong way, you know. So,
but what are we doing right now? We're talking about it, which is what the effect of this thing is to have conversation, it seems.
And this is why I love it so much, because it creates a conversation piece, something that no one would ever talk about before. And it brings up a lot more hurtful, to kind of segue back into just conversation pieces. The big conversation that I've also been seeing a lot lately is, how much conversation do you have with children? So as the adult and you're the parent and you have your child, how much conversation are you having with them? What kind of emotional intelligence are you projecting on your children? Because I think if we're not careful, what happens is that we begin to really damage our children, you know, in terms of how they should be brought up and how they should be functioning members of society. So, you know, by the grace of God, or, you know, Satan himself, you know, Lil Nas X was able to become a very creative individual and essentially make it, you know. But how many other people have actually just fallen by the wayside because they have been told that they're nothing, or they have been told that they're evil,
or not good enough, or there's something that is going to make them outcast in society, right? Which could end up creating an individual, like, as we spoke of earlier, Aileen Wuornos.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's the other thing. So as a part of his marketing thing that he used, Lil Nas X has created the Satan shoe. It shows here in the news that he's being sued by Nike, it looks like, or his team. And there's so much to talk about the Satan shoe. I'm curious as to what you think about that. We'll talk about that on the other side. It's so interesting when I'm looking at this shoe. The shoe there are only 666 pairs. Available.
Going by for about like 1,000, like almost a G, right?
Yeah, it's just over $1,000 a pair for the Satan shoes. It's 666. There's a lot of stuff that it talks about. Like, I'm looking at the shoe. We'll try to get it up for you. What do you think about that? I want to know your thoughts on, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But what do you think about the Satan shoe, Lil Nas X, and then his next steps after this? Is this leading somewhere? We'll talk about that just on the other side. We're here with Chris Regent, an actor, a social media influencer, and a taskmaster. This is Rahman Johnson. You're in the Rahman Experience. We'll be right back.
In the past few months, we've shown up for each other.
Over and over again.
And as we continue to navigate COVID-19,
we still need you to be there for each other.
By doing one simple thing: wear a mask.
Even if you think you're low risk,
a mask will help protect you and others.
It's pretty simple. I wear a mask to protect my teammates,
myself, and you. So wear a mask to protect yourself and others. Let's stop coronavirus together.
My name is Taryn Love Rains Warwood. I'm a writer, poet, author, and curator of dope shit. Random Thoughts of Rain is my head music. It is the audacity of tough dialogue inspired by a YouTube video that I happened upon one day between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. These were conversations that were introspective, thought-provoking, and heartwarming in that they truly touched my soul. It touched my heart to watch the volley of their brilliance and passion, the openness and vulnerability of my generation versus your generation proclamations pave the way to one thought. I have been blessed to meet many brilliant souls in my lifetime, and I want to talk to them about everything. These are Random Thoughts of Rain.
What a play by Bill Russell!
I just arrived to get my COVID shot, and this is one shot I won't block.
Gratitude to a great ball club for a courageous effort.
No Celtics were harmed during my shot. Let's do this together. To learn more about vaccines, visit cdc.gov.
All right, we're back, and this is the Rahman Experience. I'm Rahman Johnson, joined by Chris Regent. Chris is an actor, social media influencer, and is a pop culture expert. I love your questions. Before we get to the Lil Nas X question, how'd you come up with you do a weekly, and by the way, shout out your social media. We'll get it up on the screen in just a second. Shout out your social media.
Absolutely. Anybody can find me on Instagram, which is at Acting Regent, ACTING REGENT.
Acting, because you're an actor.
Actor.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and I guess it was how I started coming up with some of these questions is that I just do a weekly would be too much, a weekly question of the week where I just ask a lot of hypothetical questions where they challenge your perspective and they challenge your introspective. Are you challenging yourself to ask yourself what are truly the issues with the topic at hand? And how do other people view them so that you're able to compare and contrast how you should move about your day? Some are, very lighthearted. Some others are a little bit deeper topic like this one. So
we'll be looking forward to that. I'm jumping on with the questions. I know I've joined a couple times, but I'll be jumping on with those questions. But some of them are kind of, I don't know where you get those questions from. People are sending them in because some of them kind of like, wow, man.
Some people are sending them in. They're like, I really want to know like what people feel about X, Y, and Z. Last week was a little bit lighthearted. It was just a question about what was your most embarrassing moment. And somebody had put on that they were, I won't say any names, but they were at an all-white affair and they had to, they ate too much, they drank too much, and what happened was
this is not going in the direction I think it's going in. Please do.
Yes, it was, and they had to fart, and so they did, and they thought it was good, but they sharted, and then somebody said, "Oh my God, you sat in something," and they could not. And I think it was a boat ride, so they couldn't even go anywhere. You got to be more careful.
Okay, then at the white party and the shark.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That would pretty. Okay. I don't even know what this. I can't even go.
There's nothing that you could say. There's nothing that you could say. That was one of the. That was the one of. I think there was like 3 top ones that I was just like, oh, this is pretty bad. But yeah, no looking back.
I've been fortunate. Like knock on wood, thank you, Lord, and the ancestors and everybody. I appreciate all because I know when I was on the news, there have been some times which I wanted to share when I saw that. I remember once I had I like trap music and Jay-Z, and so anybody who knows, like you guys know now, but I remember when I was on the news, no one knew. I'd be in my dressing room before I went on set, and I'd be like, Master P. Sometimes, I go old school. I would have Jigga on, I would have whomever, and I'd be killing it. Well, this one day I had to interview the director for the state of Florida, the Minority Business Enterprise director. And we're sitting on the set, and all of us, and luckily this was a taped interview to be played later to go into the show, which we do in news all the time.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I accidentally hit something on my phone, and it was like Jay-Z was like, "Yeah, and yeah, and so the guy who happens to be African American as well was sitting there like, and of course I'm like, oh, that's just not me. I'm very professional. I don't have music like that. So I'm like, is that you? And I'm looking around, and everybody's looking like, well, where's the music coming from? And I remembered that it was in my pocket, and I reached over, and it was the Jay-Z song when I put. I mean, it's I'm going to share that video because it's actually up. The guys who were producing the show put it out there as a blooper on social media, and it will live in infamy for the rest of the world that I was the news man with Jay-Z. So I'm thankful that I ain't had the sharp moment. I just had the
like that's not even close to the sharp moment, but I still want to see it.
I mean, I don't know that you could ever live that down. I mean, it's something great to tell the grandkids,
I would never tell that ever.
You got to.
What?
You must.
No, for why?
Why have a story like that and not be able to share it?
To take it to my grave.
No, you got to share. You got to tell people.
As I come down, spinning down the pole, just to take it with me into the other realm. Hell no.
Oh my word! All right, so let's talk. The Satan shoe, right? Lil Nas X he went to hell, as you saw from the video we played earlier, which I think might have gotten us. I did say that I don't own the rights to this music, but hey, whatever. So we went and we saw whatever Lil Nas X said, and he goes to hell, breaks the devil's neck, takes the devil's crown, and now he goes to hell. So as a part of that, he created a shoe called the Satan shoe. It says 666 on the side of the shoe. There are only 666 pairs to sell. They are already starting to sell. Ironically, what I didn't know earlier is that some Marilyn Manson fans and people from the Church of Satan have already pledged to buy the shoe. So I ask you, where is the line blurred when it goes from art to something else?
I think it goes from, I think the line is blurred where it goes from art to something else when you start making money off of it in a way that it goes to a cause, right? So like it's different. I would never buy it. So let's just put this out there. First of all, I'm not even a big sneakerhead to begin with, but I wouldn't buy it because I just don't care for them. But I think it's different from random people buying it because they think it's cool and like this is going to be like a one-time thing and it's going to go down in history, versus that like, ooh, like this group of people who hate, and do satanic worshiping things that are considered to be evil. Then I get like, all right, well, I'm gonna just stay away from that. But like you had mentioned before, on the flip side, what he did was very intriguing as well. And this is why I think it's just so well thought out, his 9-month project. And then he came out with the Jesus shoes. So you had those, which, the Satan shoes were supposed to have a drop of blood in it. And the Jesus shoes was supposed to have a drop of holy water in it, right? So are those shoes okay? Because if those shoes are okay, then we have a bigger conversation to talk about. Is it okay? And I think he wrote on one of the shoes, or one of the graphics for the shoes, that it was a Chick-fil-A. Is it okay that Chick-fil-A, raises money and puts it towards, what has been allegedly anti-LGBTQ organizations?
Chick-fil-A, I thought that was a joke when I saw the Chick-fil-A shoe with the giant or 316. What is it? I think I have it here.
Yeah,
I thought it was a joke. Was it for real?
I think that there is a Jesus shoe. I think that was a joke for what he put it out. I think there's an actual Jesus shoe because the company MCHF makes all of these like knockoff Nike shoes, which is why they're getting sued right now. That's why they're getting sued right now. But it just puts everything into perspective. Like now that he's coming out with Jesus shoes, right? Are the Jesus shoes okay? Is it okay to even touch religion? Like, should we not talk about religion? And it goes back to my original thoughts about this whole thing, which is that we should be talking about it because for years the church has been pushing away. So I shouldn't say all of the church. I should say certain factions of the church have been pushing away people. So what did you guys expect to happen? Because all you're doing is condemning people left and right. And like I said before, not everybody feels this way, but there's a notable size of people who are just all like, you're evil and I don't want to have anything to do with you. And it's just like, so.
Interesting. If you're watching this, to all the people on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching it, you can join the conversation, tinyurl/Rahman Live. That's tinyurl/RAHMAN Live. All right. And for those that are on YouTube, I see you guys there. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being a part of my show. All right. So what's next for him? What do you think will come from this? What is the next step of where he's going? Because I think it's a great creative song. I think he may get like some MTV thing or whatever. Not sure whether it's going to be Grammy worthy. But what do you think? What are your predictions, and where does he go from this, in your estimation?
I think so. I think that he's going to be able to milk this for some time. I think it's created that much controversy. It's only been 2 days, and I don't know if you ever seen. I think is it World Star Hip Hop? I don't remember who made it, but someone creates a grid for like the months of the year, and every month is different. I think he's earned his spot or one of the spots for the month of March, where he just dropped this thing. So I think that this is going to be something that's going to be talked about for a while. And I think he could just milk it, and he could just really really bring up some very pertinent issues. There was a governor of South Dakota who went toe to toe with him on Twitter and basically was kind of condemning him for, what he was doing. But it was interesting, his clapbacks, and this is what I mean, being well thought out about really raising awareness about the real issues at hand. He's like the clap right now. He's like the clapback king. So she's like condemning him, and he's like, but don't you have more important things to do? Like, you're sitting here talking about a music video. So he's pulled all of these grown ass people out of their zone
to focus on him. There's some African American activists who have said some Christian activists have said that this was a ploy to specifically do this right before Easter, right? I'm sure you've seen the writings in that. There's that. There have been other activists who said we need to be focused on the George Floyd trial and other things dealing with the African American community. And he didn't speak out about that, but he is speaking out about the LGBTQIA plus community. So at this point in life, we have such access to information. Is anybody going to be happy?
No, and the problem is that because you have so many big figureheads, and they're so accessible these days. There's no way of pleasing everybody, because everybody's doing different things, and everybody's going to always be mad. And that's just how I feel. Could there be a better middle ground to find a way to get everything done? Sure, absolutely. But who has that answer? And if you have that answer right now, you guys out there, if you have that answer right now, come on and tell us.
Say something, because it is certainly
tell us right now. And that's I get so worked up, because I think you can only focus on so many different things. You can only focus on so many different things. So he's focusing on the awareness with LGBTQ. Will he necessarily be able to focus on BLM issues? Will he be able to focus on politics? Like, maybe that's his master plan, to kind of just knock down the pins one by one. We talked about LGBTQ, boom. Now let's go back to BLM. Let's take care of that. Boom. Now let's talk about politics. Boom. He has placed himself in a very strategic position for people to always have all eyes on him, and for him to have a platform to be listened to,
regardless of what the thing is,
whatever it is,
going to be able to have the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, and for that, I applaud you, Lil Nas X.
Okay. Now, if you want to get into the conversation again, you see right there on your screen, tinyurl.com/Rahman Live. That's tinyurl/Rahman Live. Jump into the conversation. We'd love to hear what I saw. A couple people hop in, so we'll try to get to you when we can. But if you're interested, let us know or make a comment. So, Chris, let's get back to the acting thing. I mean, you live in New York. COVID-19 pretty much decimated the industry. I mean, it's Broadway. We have friends on Broadway. They were not working. What do you see as entertainment picks back up, and we get back to, and I don't even say back to, the new normal of what the entertainment, especially the live entertainment space, looks like? Where do you see that going? Especially now we've done some really great stuff like this virtually. Where do you see entertainment taking its next step to post COVID-19?
So I think that, well, we talk about post COVID-19. I personally don't think that there's going to be a post. I think that this is going to be a very long-standing thing for some time. We hope that it's going to get significantly better, to the point where it's almost everything is back to normal. but I don't think that it will go back to being 100% normal. So it's really about reinventing yourself and really about rethinking about the way that you think you do things. I was very fortunate enough to really start acting in a professional capacity right when all of this started happening. I've only been an actor for a little over 2 years now, and because of that, a lot of this seems normal. You know, a lot of this seems normal, to do things on virtually, to be on Clubhouse and do cold reads for notable movies and notable scripts like Pixar's Soul and The Incredibles. So like for me, like that's really normal. But I think the people that are going to have the hardest time are the people who can't transition and understand that, you know what, in order to make up for some of this ground, you might have to do things virtually, and you might have to be a little bit more interactive with people who really need it. You know, we do this because we love it, right? You know, even when we were talking earlier today and we were in the live about coming on and talking about various things with Lil Nas X and everything that's going on COVID-19, we were excited. We were like, so we to a certain extent love it. But if you don't love it and you don't try and find a way to like reinvent yourself and say, I'm going to do this on Instagram, I'm going to reach out to people and just say, hey, like, why don't you engage with me in a conversation? Let's do exercises. Then I think those people are going to fall by the wayside. But entertainment is here to stay. I honestly,
it's just how we do it now has got to be reimagined, so to speak.
Right. I think, I think it's just about reimagining it. Right. And I like the reimagination portion of it because it allows us to get real creative. You can't be, as an actor, how can you like show your body reactions and your gestures? How do you inflect your voice more so that, you know, someone understands that you're sad, you're upset, you're happy? What does that look like? Yeah. You know, changing your breathing. You know, what is that? How does that feel? And I think it's a really good exercise because of something that Will Smith had said a couple of years ago, and I think Jaden was there as well. He said, when you are on camera and you are on the big screen TV, and I'm ad-libbing here, but he said it in this sense, everybody can see everything that you are feeling. So if you cannot portray that or you don't feel that, you think that people can't see that on a little TV screen, a little laptop. Imagine being able to see everything on a big movie screen.
Yeah.
And that hit me hard because I was just like, wow, those, you know, a little eye gesture, a little your nose flaring, that all is a part of it. So,
it's nuanced. It's new. It was funny. So I don't want to call any other acting coach greater than the other, but I studied under Bill Duke for a while, right? And Bill Duke is probably one of the most amazing guys that I've ever met in my life. Bill Duke, for you guys don't remember, he wrote and directed parts of Good Times. He was in Predator. He's been in a lot of movies, right? He's done stuff in Hollywood for decades. And so I was in a part of his acting conservatory, and he told me this, and it's funny because there was a debate on Facebook recently. A lady said something to me on Facebook, and she was like, "Oh, you're just pretending. Actors are just pretending." And then she said, if they're not pretending, so do you mean like if you're an axe murderer, have you become an axe murderer? And it's, I guess people don't get it, but I remember Mr. Duke saying to me, let them come down. That was his advice. And so for all of us, we have to become these nuanced people. And so I know your method just like me, because we've worked together before. And so when you get to that space, I try to learn the character. And I know this may be the antithesis of what some people know, but I don't try to learn the lines. And of course, you and I had that debate. Like, you learn the lines. I don't ever learn the lines. I learn the character, right? Mm-hmm. I get familiar with the lines, but I learn the character. Mm-hmm. That way, whatever comes out, the character would say it because I'm so intimately connected with the character, that I've become the character.
Mhm.
Therefore, kind of like I think, therefore I am. Right?
Yeah.
I think I'm the character, so
Yeah.
therefore I am. It comes out, and the lines just manifest themselves. And it was a technique I learned from, I think Shay Griffin, maybe one of the casting directors, but it was that technique of saying, get familiar with the character and the other stuff will come. And
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think it's also dependent on how much what actors and how much experience they have, and then also the friends that are around each of those, whether they be the experienced or the inexperienced actors. Because I think that they understand the difference. So, like with her, she may not be around actors that are as experienced, but as we had talked about before, in terms of just method acting, you get really into it. I mean, I remember taking an improv class, and it was a month-long improv class, and it was at Kimball's studio. And what they would do is, it was very basic. They would take words out of a hat, and they would say, all right, this says cat, and this, and then another phrase, and you got to somehow portray it.
Yeah.
Very, very abstract. But it was all to build up for our final scene. And our final scene, the coach wanted me to be angry. Now, anybody that knows me, I'm not an angry individual. I'm not. I tend to be very even keeled for the most part. But he said, because of that, you're locking away a portion of you that is being underutilized. So I decided to be angry for this scene. And when I tell you, the tears and the anger just started, and the nose drip started just like flowing. And I'm sitting there on stage. And what was very interesting is that, as an actor, we're trained to be very cognizant and listen. So I'm saying all of this stuff, which is all ad-libbed, but I'm saying all this stuff, and I could feel the entire audience, all the other classroom, all the other classmates, and all the other people that were in the room. They just fell to a hush. And it wasn't like before, because people would be on their phones, or fell to a hush, and everybody gave me a round of applause. It was like, that was amazing. What were you thinking about? I kept it to myself. But the whole point of this story is that it took me about 15 minutes to get myself to stop crying, because I was just so emotionally tapped into what that was. I mean, I was thinking about breakups. I was thinking about death. I was thinking about so much. So yes, when you are told that you should be an axe murderer, I think in that brief moment, you might possibly be an axe murderer. So don't mess with me.
You mean much like I am in the gym every day? I'm a very jovial, happy person now. I am probably not this happy person when you see me in the gym. I think I am. I think I'm a nice guy regardless, but in the gym I tend to be
You got resting bitch face.
You said what?
You got resting bitch face at the gym?
No, it's not even that. It's like, come too close and this way you'll take your head off. Like, it's one of those moments. But there's an aggression that you need. Like the music I listen, like I had a dear friend, or have a dear friend, who lives in California, and he's just smart guy, attorney, very, very smart guy. And he listens to opera while he's at the gym. Like literally, he will be like Puccini or to something, Kathleen Battle doing an aria, M Butterfly, and he's just like, and he's like, looks like the Incredible Hulk, big old dude, and he's listening. He's very smart, listening to opera. Meanwhile, like if I don't have somebody saying something about like, let's hit this one or jack this one, or I want to hear all of that while I'm lifting weights. I don't know.
Yeah. I listen to violin every once in a while.
Are you while you're working out?
Yeah, it just depends on the mood that I'm in. Like I love a couple of Black violinists that play. Like there's a group called Black Violin.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Are you mean traditional violin, like chamber music, or do you mean just like a hip hop violin, like
it depends on what they're playing. So they play traditional stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say, because it needs to be a little bit more upbeat and more up tempo, it might be more hip hop related. But I love it because I think it just takes you in the zone sometimes.
Gotcha. Okay. We're going to be back in just a moment. I want to wrap things up. We're only supposed to be on an hour. I think we're running over, but I want to wrap things up and get to know like what your process is. We talked about acting and that process, but what your process is. I know we talked about the few things that you have coming up in the future. So I want to talk about that as well as your question. If you can preview what's coming up, don't give it away now, but I want to preview what's coming up. But here it is, but it's coming. It's coming. All right. We're in the house with Christopher Regent. This is the Rahman Experience. We'll be right back.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans, and soon they will be available to everyone.
This vaccine means hope. It will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
I want to go back to work and I want to be able to move around.
To visit with Michelle's mom, to hug her and see her on her birthday.
You know, I'm really looking forward to is going to opening day in Texas Ranger Stadium with a full stadium.
We've lost enough people and we've suffered enough damage.
In order to get rid of this pandemic, it's important for our fellow citizens to get vaccinated.
I'm getting vaccinated because we want this pandemic to end as soon as possible.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
So roll up your sleeve and do your part.
This is our shot.
Now it's up to you.
Okay, as we end the tail end of the Rahman Experience, also got to let you know today, before we get right back to the show, was opening statements in the murder trial of George Floyd. There's been a lot of discussion about that. I'll be talking about it, of course, on social media. Even though I am an actor and professor and all that stuff, news is always important to me. It's something that I was raised with, and so even though I kind of play, you know, the only other, I guess there are others, but the actor I know that is very involved on the news side. Remember, I think it's Candace Bergen. Remember, she was Murphy Brown.
I can't say that I recall.
Gosh, that's because like you're about 2 years younger than me. Just go with it.
Under the bus.
Because you almost did, right? But because they're very few. I mean, to me, I just think it's about information sharing, and it's important for us to be able to share this information and move it along. So anyway, all right, back to the show. So we'll be looking at that. Check me out on social media. We'll be talking about it. Back to you though. So your question, upcoming questions, and we got to get you back in the show. I know you got some other projects to talk about. I love having you as a guest. Hopefully, maybe you'll come on and co-host or host for me, whatever. We got to get you back at Chris Regent, at Acting Regent on social media. You can find him on Instagram, which is probably your favorite social, just like mine.
Yeah, it is the social media of choice.
Yeah, everybody has, being that I don't have an iPhone and I've yet to, because you told me about Clubhouse, didn't you? I think you did.
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah, you're the one. Before you even got the read, you told me like Clubhouse was the thing, and I have yet to be able to. I have it downloaded, but it doesn't work on the Android. So sad.
Well, I think they're still working on this this whole contract. I don't know. It's being difficult.
Whatever. All right. So, what's your upcoming question? What questions you got coming up?
I think for the question for this week is just really it always ties into the previous week. So as I said before, last week's question was like, what was your most embarrassing moment? So here Lil Nas X is coming onto the stage, not being embarrassed by anything, and he has created a platform for himself. Mm-hmm. So how would you guys use your platform now that you have one? If you were Lil Nas X, what would be the next order of business to try and take care of? Because you got everybody's attention now. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, interesting. All right, I know I'm going to jump on that one because I think it's pretty unique. Although hopefully I don't have to, but it's different though. Lil Nas X is 21. Like if I did that at my age now, I could just only imagine it. First of all, you got to give it to the brother. The brother had on 7-inch stilettos. Like I'm just saying, like these knees not set up like that right there. So I wouldn't get the attention.
You'd be on the floor.
I'm so good on that. I'm so good on that. All right. So what else you got coming up in your world, in the podcast and acting? I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. You said you had a few things. And what have you just done? What is some of the stuff you just coming off of?
So in terms of the podcast, we're looking to start back up season 2.
You're with your iota brother Phil.
Yeah, so with my iota Phi Theta brother Philip, and also with the lovely actress and model Blair Tate.
And your show is wild.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. So the name of the show podcast is called Highly Melanated Podcast.
Highly Melanated, yes.
So we sit down and we talk about issues and other taboo topics that people don't want to talk about in the Black community and communities of color. And they range so greatly. So it really just depends a lot of times what's going on. If we were not mid-production with everything that was happening, we would probably be talking about Lil Nas X right now.
Right.
But we've talked about love. We've talked about the LGBTQ community. We've talked about politics and how they run, in particular New York. Because we have our own set of issues that are up here.
Yep.
So we've talked about finances and tax season. We've talked about a lot of different things. So we're in production for that. I just finished doing an episode for a short web series called Crashed, with a couple of actors that I saw in. I went to class with, excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied, that I went to class with. So that's on my page, and you can definitely find the link in my bio for that. So you should check it out. And I just did a couple of projects that I just really, really loved and enjoyed. In particular, I did something for McKinsey & Co., which is a diversity, equity, inclusion company. And we did a piece on race in the workplace and what does that look like. So I've been busy. Just doing a lot of the different projects here and there.
Every time you work, man, I'm so proud.
Isn't it like a 180? It's a complete 180 to like when we first like really started talking heavy.
Yes. Well, you were like, I remember what you said. You said, I want to be an actor. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I stopped you. Because you cannot aspire to be what you are.
No, you're absolutely right.
You are or you're not.
Yep.
But you're not aspiring. When you decide, I remember the day that I produced, James, in the Sigma, James Peoples.
Yes.
So James and I, James, Kwame, myself, we all got together and produced this movie like 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
And one morning I woke up, literally it was just that. And I said, I'm going to be a producer.
Yeah.
And I said, I am a producer now. Now I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do it, but I said it and I started doing what producers do. I grabbed a book. I started calling people. I was able to get a script. I was able to get some money raised, and we shot a film, 10 cards, that was able to make some decent money and get some awards. So I ain't mad at it. But when you started saying I am an actor, stuff started changing, didn't it?
Oh, I mean, tenfold. I mean, I think part of the problem is that we become too caught up in our head. And it's funny, what you had told me years ago, where you said, no, you're not, you don't want to be, you are. I find myself doing the same thing to people who are just starting out as well. I'm like, you are, you just do it. It's not a thing that you really question.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I love the journey, because like I have been doing things that I've never done before, ever. I'm just like, I confession, I don't read a whole lot. I'm a very visual person. Show me a video, show me how to do it yourself. But now I find myself weekly, I read about 150 pages worth of script.
Hello.
And dialogue with people and get into character. Cold read, and for those who don't know, cold reads is when you read a script for a table read and you have no idea anything, you don't know anything about the script, nothing. So you have to get into character right there. And it's been beautiful. It's one of my favorite things to do now.
I tell you, that is, co-reading and improv. Yeah. When you get on set and you're working, that's good. But co-reading and improv, that's how you get the job, right? Mm-hmm. You got to be able to walk in there and create a character. And you know how I am about creating characters. That's what I love to do. We could talk about this all night. Chris, promise me you will be back. Now, when is Highly Melanated come back?
Highly Melanated is scheduled to come back in the middle of April.
Okay.
So that's when it's scheduled. We hopefully we can keep to that. We are all busy working actors. Yes, so we've had to push it back a couple of times, but we are eagerly trying to get some stuff out because we've had some very exciting things that we wanted to do, as well as, and I'll even put a snippet in there. One of the things that we're trying to do is like really promote Black-owned businesses.
Yes.
And we want to really put that out there for Black-owned businesses that really don't have a platform to really push and promote their products or services. Yeah. We've been doing it for free, We don't know how long that's going to last because when we blow up and everything like that, I don't know, but we want to help you out, and it's so important to get everybody's information out there because I think that's our biggest hurdle. Like, I just don't know if you're out there or if she's out there or if he's out there. So we're here to help you out on your journey.
That's it, Chris. I look forward to having you back in the Rahman Experience. Thank you for being here with us tonight, my man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We better see you in the future. That's Chris Regent, and we are so excited to have had him in the experience. And thank you for being a part of this. Got a shout out, of course, to Gloria Bennett. And Gloria, I miss you too, lady. I want to hug you as well. Gloria's out in LA. She's a fellow actor. Good to see you here. Joel, man, so good to have you guys watching and back in the Rahman Experience. Joel says Team Android. Ain't that the truth? Tasha Roke. Hey, Tasha. She was one of my students from back in the day. How you doing? And who is that? Oh, just StreamYard. Okay. So all you guys got to do is, if you want to be a part of the experience, jump on Twitter at RahmanJ, at RAHMANJ on Twitter or Instagram or on Facebook, facebook.com/RahmanJFans. And last but not least, I want to remind you all right now, Amazon has my book, Living, Loving, Letting Go, which is kind of the written portion of the Rahman Experience, my collection of poetry. That is on sale right now for $10 on Amazon. So it's half price. Go get the book. It's a fly book. Amazon.com, just put in Rahman Johnson and you can pull up my book. I would love for you to check it out. And if you send it to me, I'll sign it and send it back to you. All right. Thank you for being here. Chris, I forgot to tell you, man, I've got this bracelet. I got to tell you the story about this bracelet. This is the coolest bracelet in the world. Got to tell you the story. Such a cool thing. Always good stories to share. All right. I will see you guys on the flip side. Remember, you must spread love. If you do everything through the lens of love, it all happens as it's supposed to. Excited that you're here with me. But remember, the future is even brighter because the future is right now. All right. I'll see you next time on the Rahman Experience. Have a good night.
Just like on the earth, through death comes life.
There is something in the atmosphere of Everwater's college.
What about vaping and the effects on the lungs? It was a symbol of we can.
Rahman was a man of the city, you hear me?
You're inside the Rahman Experience.
It's the Rahman Experience.
The Rahman Experience.
The knowledge that he dropping, most dismiss it, make you curious.
And we can't mess this up, cause you know he gon' be furious.
He bring the news to you, cause it's the truth, ain't no stopping it. Say you didn't know, well, here's the proof coming from
Rahman Johnson, ain't no straight out of Compton. Duval County with that way that we rockin'. Now you tuned in
to the Rahman Experience.